That being said, Korach created a division, but you might say Korach unified everybody else against Moses. It was only Moses and a handful of people who were on the other side. The very fact that Korach saw a need to delegitimize a group of people in Klal Yisrael is by itself a grave sin. Instead of coming to argue it out privately, he demanded that action be taken according to his wishes and his ideas. Instead of discussion, he demands immediate action, throwing out the old God, throwing out Moses and Aaron, and replacing them with Korach and his henchmen. It doesn't make a difference who Korach is fighting against. The very fact that he is willing to delegitimize other people because he thinks so, without discussion, is by itself an indication of the divisiveness and the divisive nature and the arrogance and the selfishness and the self-absorbed nature of Korach's soul. It is a tormented soul, a holy soul, but a tormented soul nonetheless. As I mentioned in a previous video, it is my belief that if it wasn't the division of the Jewish people that caused the Holocaust, it certainly was the most telling element that allowed the Holocaust to happen, at least in the huge numbers that took place. For you see, Hitler could not have been successful had Jews been truly unified. For if we had truly been unified, we would have accepted the pleas of different groups and factions, and we would not have let the Nazis balkanize us into various factions. The death of almost 1 million Hungarian Jews took place because the Nazis used Jews to convince other Jews that they can go quietly to the trains because they were going to be taken to a working place where they would have food. And this happened in many different places. And the one place where it didn't happen was in Bratislava, where one ultra-Orthodox Jew found it in his heart to be unified with all other Jews and took 3 or 4 other Jews into his group and worked together with them to save the Jews first of Bratislava for several years from being deported, and then having a plan to save the rest of European Jewry, which could have worked. One rabbi, Chaim Michal Ber Weissmandel, could have saved millions of Jews had other Jews in the diaspora listened to his pleas. The reason why they did not do so was because of the balkanization of the Jewish community at large in the whole world. The secular did not believe the religious did not believe the Zionists, the Misnagdim did not want to have connection with the Hasidim, and vice versa. And what happened was divisions allowed for the death of other Jews. And ultimately, everyone was killed. In the ghettos, each group had their own preferences. Inzers, ours. We're protecting ours. We don't care about the others. that attitude runs contrary to the very fabric of the fundamental principles of Torah. Torah says as follows, Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah Perek Aleph, that if Gentiles surround a city, and the city can have 1 million people, or 10 million people, the entire population of the Jewish people, and they say to them, give us one of yours, or if you don't give us one of yours and we'll kill him, we'll kill all of you. Even if they identify the person by name. The law is, Yehargu kulam val yimsuru lahem nefesh achas mi Yisrael. They should all die and not give over one Jew to those who hate us. I want you to understand that there were very few people who understood this halacha. One of them was Rabbi Weissmandl. The other was the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Joseph Isaac Schneerson. During World War I and afterwards, when all of the yeshivas were desperate for money, the Rebbe and his father provided 80% of the budgets of all of the yeshivas in Europe. And they distributed the monies based upon numbers alone, not based upon any kind of preference for their own. They were legitimate stewards of the trust of others outside of Russia. And the same goes for Rabbi Michal Ber Weissmandl.